Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, welcome back to my video. And in this occasion, I will share to you the material of systemic functional linguistic. Let's check it out together. Okay, here we go. I will explain to you all what is systemic functional linguistic in language education. But first thing first, before we go on this material, I will introduce to you all, everyone, about the vision of English education study program in uh, Latan Samashiro University. That should be to become an outstanding English education study program in developing digital-based learning materials with a local wisdom approach and fostering edupreneurs with global competitiveness guided by noble character. Yeah, so this is our vision. We hope that uh, this study program, especially English education, we can develop digital-based learning materials in a local wisdom, yeah. And also, we come up with edupreneurs. That's it mean we can uh, combine both digital-based learning material and also the edupreneurs. Okay. And then next, I would also recite the Quran, Surah Al-Mujadilah, verse 11. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Yarfa'illahu alladhina amanu minkum walladhina utul ilma darujat. Wallahu bima ta'maluna khabir. The meaning is, Allah will raise those who have belief among you and those who were given knowledge by degrees. And Allah is all aware of what you do. Okay, everyone. This surah, Al-Mujadilah, verse 11, emphasizes that those who possess knowledge are granted a higher rank in the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala compared to those who lack of it. Seeking knowledge is one of the means to draw closer to Allah and to attain a higher status, both in this world and in the hereafter. That's why when we learn, so Allah will grant our status higher than the others that never learn something. In this occasion, we will learn about systemic functional linguistic, and I hope for you who never know about this systemic functional linguistic or already known, hopefully both of you will understand more about this lesson. Okay, now I will continue for the learning outcome of this meeting. By the end of this lesson, students are able to first identify systemic functional linguistics as part of the educational linguistics. Second, differentiate five basic principles of systemic functional linguistics. And the last one, analyze simple multimodal text based on systemic functional linguistics context. So, in this meeting, I hope we can get, or you can get a three outcome by identifying SFL not only as a linguistic, but also this become an educational linguistics. Okay. And also you can understand and also differentiate five basic principles of SFL. And the last, you need to analyze a sample text that I will given to you. I will give to you in the last based on SFL context that we will learn after this. Okay, everyone. Once again, before we go on to the systemic functional linguistic, I will remind you that SFL, systemic functional linguistic, is part of or branch of linguistics itself. If you can see here, there are two components of language. The first, the first part is when linguistics studied by the area, we have comparative linguistic, psycholinguistic, sociolinguistic, historical linguistic, and theoretical linguistic. But when we learn linguistic based on the component of language, we will get phonetics, or we call it sound, lexis, or word classes, semantic, or meaning, pragmatics, uses, and discourse connected to the text. Both of them are uh, also become applied linguistic when we make them or apply them in the context of education. Okay. And then look at here. I will explain you about educational linguistic. Why it should be educational linguistic, by the way, because I don't want you to understand systemic functional linguistic only from the branch of linguistic, because we are not in linguistic program, but we are in English education study program. Okay, so we have always gather to the educational setting. Okay, look at here. Bernard Spolsky wrote that educational linguistics was a term model on educational sociology and educational psychology. Also, he said that linguistics is not waiting to be applied. Yeah, this is what Bernard Spolsky wrote. Okay, and then Stapp also reported that applied linguistics was a way of providing teachers with education about language that will inform their practice. So, in this context, both of report from Stapp or Bernard Spolsky means that educational linguistic should be something around area of education, and the language is one of uh, tools or part of the communication that already practiced in the classroom. Okay, everyone, look at here. Now we go on the systemic functional linguistic in language education. Yeah, look at here. The contribution of systemic functional linguistic to language education is centered predominantly on the theories relevant to the explanation and interpretation of text. In this course, students will focus on the role of lexicogrammar, the integrated system of grammar and lexis, in the production and negotiation of the social meanings that are realized in both spoken and written text. The course will start with the overarching assumption about the SFL models of language as social semiotic and then explore its specific theoretical construct, such as genre, register, metafunction, and grammatical system that are used to encode them. So, I will make it clear for you all. It means that during systemic functional linguistic in language education, we will focus on text analysis. Okay? Because SFL, or we can say it as a functional grammar, it will contain with the meta function and also lexicogrammar. And we also know that we will discuss later. Um, in systemic functional linguistic is integrated system of grammar and lexis. Lexis will also provide a meaning of the text because what we will analyze here is about kind of text. Text in the social practice, we will found it as a genre. And the genre of the text we know as well as narrative, descriptive, report, and also many more. It will analyze together with the meaning of the text. Why the speaker or the writer create this text. So, in this part, SFL will help us to analyze and interpret the meaning of the text. Okay. Now we go on the systemic functional linguistic by understanding 5 basic principle and notion of SFL. Now look at here. If you see in your screen, you will see there is an old man here with white hair and also using a glasses. This is our honor holiday. He is, I would say, he is the one who found systemic functional linguistic. We really honor him for this big knowledge. Yeah, the systemic functional linguistic developed by Holiday and also his colleagues. Yeah, so many. Matheson, Martin, Roos, Christie, treats language as a resource for meaning. Yeah, so Holiday and also their colleagues say that language as a resource for learning. And then look at here. Systemic functional linguistic. Firstly, any natural language is said to be systemic because it offers option or set of choices for making meaning. For example, the tense system offers choices for making meaning. So do the system of conjunction of person, number, voice, or the theme. It's all also making a meaning. And then systemic functional linguistic also. Any natural language is said to be functional. Why? Because it has evolved to serve basic human needs, purposes, or function for making meaning. As we learn language, we learn to negotiate relationship with others and to construct and organize our sense of experience and knowledge of the world. So, after we understand the introduction of systemic functional linguistic, now we go on the 5 basic principles of systemic functional linguistic. The first, we have social semiotic. The second one, we have language as a resource. Third, text rather than sentences. Fourth, text and social context. And the last one, construing meaning. Now, we will discuss one by one from the basic principle of systemic functional linguistics. The first one, we will discuss SFL as a social semiotic. What is it? In this context, SFL sees language as a system of sign. Holiday and Martin Sage, SFL sees language as a system of sign which used for social purpose. So it means that in a social context, people or society always communicate using language. And all of the language used in the social context, it can be seen as a system of sign. Okay, for social purpose, of course, to get something, to give a message, to do something, everyone will make a sign. Sign can be everything. If you go on the road and you see there is a traffic light, there is a red, yellow, and a green, that's a sign. If you see there is a white board in the street and you see there is a sign, that's a sign of communication. That's the meaning of the first principle. SFL as a social semiotic, it's mean SFL sees language as a system of sign. The second principle, SFL sees language as a resource for making meaning rather than a system of rules. Look at here. The second principle, SFL sees language as a resource for making meaning. Yeah, not a system of rules. So if you learn language and then you only learn about rules and rules, grammar and grammar, that's not SFL. Because SFL sees language as a resource for making meaning. So in this part, as a nutshell, SFL describes language in terms of set of choices of meaning or a set of options. Okay, that's the second principle of systemic functional linguistics. The third principle, SFL, concerns text rather than sentences as the basic unit through which meaning negotiated. In this part, SFL concern text. So when we want to analyze any kinds of uh, discourse, or we can say it as a text, that's SFL. SFL shouldn't be only a word or only a clause, phrase, or sentences, but become a one unit as a text that will making a meaning. Yeah, that can be a separate. Yeah, it should be a one unit. That's the third principle. The fourth principle of SFL focus on close relation between text and social context. It means that SFL never ever separate between text and also social context. SFL always making a meaning based on the social context. There is a text and also there is a social context. Text without social context is not a text. And rather than there is no meaning inside the text without social context. So, the last principle, the fifth principle, look at this picture. I have two picture here, but look at here. SFL not conduit. SFL should be construing meaning, everyone. It means that SFL not only transfer the meaning or the message, but interpret or construing the meaning. Yeah, because if you just can do it, it just is transferring something, transferring meaning, but it's not SFL. Okay, it's not SFL. SFL is construing meaning. It means the SFL will also interpreting the meaning behind the text. That's it. Five principle of SFL that you have to know. Yeah. Okay, next we can see here there is a multi-layer meaning in context from an SFL perspective. Yeah, if you see here, uh, there is a context and also text. Context and text here, there is a discourse, genre, register, semantic and pragmatic, lexical, grammar, phonology, and graphology. And from the text and context here, we find also metafunctional meaning. If we want to analyze the context and text, we have also direct to the metafunctional meanings. In metafunctional meaning, we have three kinds of it. The first is additional meaning, interpersonal meaning, and textual meaning. We will discuss the metafunctional meaning one by one in the next video. Yeah. Now, look at here in the lexicogrammatical features. Look at the first one. We have a text. If we see text in the form of the text, we can find there is a spoken text, written text, visual text, body language, also a text. And all of them kind of the text form in here will have a meaning. If we go down before a text, we can have a clauses or sentences. In the class of clauses and sentences, we will found simple, compound, complex, and compound complex sentences. And in this, also we will find tense modality. In tense modality, there is a declarative, interrogative, and imperative. If we go down again, in the clause and sentences, there is a word. Yeah. And the very um, tiny unit, there is a letter. But letter will never have a meaning. Yeah. We never know the meaning of letter A. Yeah. Because this is the very small unit of language. We need another letters, yeah, to make a words. We need another words to make a clauses or sentences. And we need a unit of text to have a full meaning. That's a means by systemic functional linguistic. But look at here for the words. In the word class, we have a noun, verb, adjective, adverb, and so on. So all of these we will learn more in SFL. Okay, next, there is a language, culture, discourse, and society. Yeah, what is language? If you ask what is language, of course, we will go back to the SFL setting that language is always a text. Yeah. And we know that text is always part of the context. Text is always accompanied by context. Text without context, there is no meaning at all. Yeah, you have to know it. Okay, so in here, we can figure it out. I take this picture from Deriwianka's Zangbre model, yeah? She said that text, text is the internal unit, but the very, uh, the outer unit, there is a culture. Culture is a very um, close with society, social purpose. Okay, and we know that Zangro is one of the culture, and Zangro has a purpose. Society make a sentence, make a text have a purpose. So in the Zangro, there is a situation. This situation, we call it as a register that has three kinds of situation: field, tenor, and mood. Or I would say this additional meaning, interpersonal meaning, and textual meaning. Okay, everyone, that's it. The material for today. Now I will go to the exercise. Uh, the exercise is simple, and I want you to learn how to analyze a text. Look at this. I have a text here. You have to uh, identify this picture first to analyze the text, because this text I took from MRT. You know, when you uh, go somewhere using MRT, or you can also go with KRL, yeah, commuter line. There is a sign like this, right, in the door of the train, isn't it? Yeah, no eating and drinking. The fine is $500. Yeah, like this. We can't find this kind of sign, this kind of text in the public transportation, not only in MRT, in commuter line, in another public transportation. We can find this, yeah. So the question is it a text? What is the purpose of the text? If you say it is a text, that's true, yeah. It's based on the first five basic principle of SFL that say SFL see the language as a sign or semiotic. Okay. So if this is a text, what is the purpose? Of course, we know that there is a picture here about a food and also a beverage, yeah, or drink something. This is a part of the social action. Only human that can eating and drinking in the public transportation, but it's not a law. Yeah, there is another sign here with the red one. It means that no eating and drinking during or in the MRT. If you do so, if you still eat and drink in the MRT, you will get a consequences. By the penalty, you have to pay the fine. Yeah. So this is a rules in society. Why? To make everything clean. Yeah. Hope that our public transportation will clean from beverage and food. Because as you know that in MRT or in commuter line, there is no toilet. There is no also a trash. So everything need to be clean. These two kind of train is a fast train, is the city rain. So hopefully that people who use this public transportation will no make any trash like this, everyone. So we understand everything in the SFL based on the meaning. There is always a meaning behind the text. So the last but not least, I have an assignment for you. The first, you have to watch my recorded teaching video. Yeah, if you already watch me, so you know what to do, okay? And then after understanding the material that I already delivered to you, you have to do the assignment. By what? By summarizing all the materials that already explained by me, of course. And then the third, you need to underline three important key points of the material and explain it by yourself by recording into a video. You have to make a video like me, okay? And then the fourth, the duration of the video should be around 3 minutes or more. Yeah, at least 3 minutes. And the last one, share your link video in Google Classroom assignment as the proof you did the assignment. I will wait your assignment soon, everyone. So please make everything clear for you and for me, of course. Okay, maybe that's everything I can share to you in this meeting. Thank you so much, everyone. We will see again in my next video. Bye.